Welcome to Warrior Werks. You know, that's about the only part that I had rehearsed that I think I got down pretty good. The rest of this, man, I've been sitting here for the past hour and a half trying to figure out how to properly introduce myself. Welcome to Warrior Werks. My name is James. My family and I are from Hooper Bay, Alaska, a small Yupik community on the West Coast. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Teresa. We have 6 beautiful children and 3 wonderful grandchildren. A little bit about my experience. I've been an artist my entire life, as long as I can remember. I started creating things, started making ulus, knives, masks. Geez, it's been for the better part of 30 years now. And I enjoy doing it. I feel like it's a part of who I am. It's in my DNA to want to do these types of things. I've always been a go-getter. I set my mind to something and I've always accomplished it. When I started out this YouTube channel, I didn't know what to expect. I did it because I have a pretty healthy collection of knives myself, and I wanted to share after seeing everything that everyone else was sharing and the perceived camaraderie and faith and friendship that was openly being discussed among the knife community channels. I thought that that was something that I thoroughly would enjoy and I would be able to kind of fit in, so to speak. And I started out with YouTube Shorts. I wanted to do the longer form videos, but I never got around to it due to travel, work. We had a disaster back in October that prevented me focusing on anything besides that. And then November came around, and soon after that, I ended up having a scheduled knee replacement. And the last thing I could do or thought of doing was a shop tour of an introduction or longer videos while I was recovering from a knee surgery. Well, fast forward, it's been about 5 weeks now since that, and I need to get off and I need to start making these videos. So let's get into what you guys probably really came here for, is a shop tour. So I have a small 16 by 20 shop in the back of our house. It's a separate building. It has to be heated separately. It has separate electricity. But it's a combined shop. It's combined for woodworking, metalworking, and everything else in between. So I'll start off from this side of my shop. This is my main work area. And I'm going to pan fairly quickly at first so you guys kind of get an idea of my shop. Okay, now that I'm dizzy, let's start here at the beginning. This is what I would refer to as my main workspace. This is where I do a lot of my finish work, a lot of work that's needed with my Fordham. For those of you who don't know what a Fordham is, it's basically a Dremel on steroids. Got some of my parts up there, my parts container. Got a French cleat wall that I built. Of course, every single tool holder on here had to be custom made. From my chisel holder, or holders I should say, my plier rack, my hammer rack, draw knives, clamps, saws, my plane till, miscellaneous equipment. Got my welder down here with some of my angle grinders and some of my raw materials. some of my storage space. I'd like to point out something that you're going to see on a reoccurring theme here in my shop is because it's a small shop, I'm limited on space, and what I use is, I'm not going to claim I created the idea because I didn't, but essentially you have these plates that mount into like receiver hitch type mounting plates that are mounted underneath. And these can slide in and out, and I'll show you something a little easier to get out and how they work later on in the shop. But this is my main vise. I replaced the jaws with brass jaws so they don't scratch the metal. Music, Warrior Werks, towel dispenser. Forgive my pause here. I need to grab my cane. I got my hammer rack. Some of my other tools that I use. A project that's been a project for a long time. Not really a complex one. Basically, I want to remove the paint from this anvil. That's a Peter Wright anvil, pretty rare, especially here in Alaska. I think that's going to clean up real nice and make a good display piece. There's some raw walrus tusk. We can get back a little bit on this right here. This is some of the material that I use on some of my custom knife handles. Just to give you guys an idea of size, you're roughly looking at 20 inches for that larger tusk, which is a small tusk, a small male tusk, and significantly smaller in diameter and size female walrus tusk. Pretty rare material, I guess, when you consider it worldwide. A little bit more common in Alaska, but less common when you take into account people that actually make things with it. You can see my rack, my cordless tool rack. Of course, that's all custom made. I needed to find a way I can jam pack as many tools as possible in one small space. My woodworker's clamp, more storage underneath, my garbage can underneath the chop saw. All right, here's my chop saw, some of my wood storage, my mini lathe in the back, and of course, some more vices that I don't really need, but you know, they're not hurting anything by being there. This is my flammable storage cabinet, of course, with a few stickers. These aren't for the channel stickers. I got these quite a while ago. But this holds all the flammables and all the things that I guess could potentially make things worse if it was to catch fire. Honestly, don't know what that's going to protect by being in there, but you know, I thought it was a good idea when I did this at the time. Anyways, here's one of the most used items in my shop. This is a variable speed grinder that I have a fiber wheel on and a brass brush on the other side. And this is kind of containing, or this has that system that I was telling you guys about earlier. So basically, it's square tubing. Within square tubing, you loosen that, and you can slide out. Maybe I should tackle the lighter one while I'm doing this one-handed. So loosen that, and you can take this out, store it down there, change it out with another tool, put the other tool back in place, slide it, and tighten it, and that's not going anywhere. Have my table saw, clamps, my forge in the back there, my drill press, my bandsaw, my anvil, of course more storage, my knife vise, I guess, I don't know exactly what you guys would refer to them as. It's my knife vise. It holds blades in place while I work on handles. And it's something that I custom made. Basically, with a bunch of parts, some 2x4s, metal, and some leather. So essentially, when you put a blade in there, these two pieces of leather clamp down and hold it in place while I work on a handle. Tighten this down, and you can rotate the knife in any direction. Does a full 360. It's become invaluable on handle making. Since I have a small shop, I don't have a lot of room for air filtration or a dust collection system. So I cut a vent out and I added a fan. And the fan, when it's on, it vents directly outside. There's no filter outside or anything, so I have to crack open a window, turn this fan on, and it will clear the air in this small shop in a very short amount of time. It doesn't negate the need for a mask, but it helps clear the air and makes it a little bit more breathable and safe. So, storage space. This is my 2x72 belt grinder. My disc grinder. My portaband on a table. My mini mill. My buffer, my machinist toolbox, my planer, my monster vise that I restored that I rarely use, but it's cool to have, and my Rinnai propane heater because it's Alaska and it's negative 10 degrees out, and I don't want to be working out here in the cold. And because you don't want a failure and you don't want all this stuff freezing, I got a backup electrical heater which activates when it gets to below freezing. Here's some of my stock that I have. Of course, there's some storage right here. Old planes, dowels, metal rods, square rods, band file, my broom, my cleaning supplies, my work apron, my air compressor, at least my air compressor reel. As you could see, this is a barnyard style workshop. And I did this on purpose so I'd have storage upstairs, or rather on the second part of this shop. Got clamps, I got wood storage up on top with a bunch of other things. But my air compressor's up there as well. And again, saving for space. Following the theme of needing safe space, I have this DeWalt bin bolted to the door and some of my leatherworking stuff and handle material stuff added to the stack-on portion of that DeWalt case. I'll go and try to do a quick, slow pan over of some of the things that I've made for the shop. My bit holder. This is my Fordham with some of the tools that I use with the different chucks. This is my radio, of course, and my storage in here for some miscellaneous things. This is also another thing that I made. As you can see, I got quite a bit of lighting in here for such a small space. But again, when it gets dark and you need a lot of lighting and you need to be able to see mistakes or the work that you're working on, it helps to have a lot of light. I've been wanting to put those like hexagon style lights on here. I think that they'd be a little more equal in light and a little more, I guess, flat to the ceiling. But I haven't got around to that. I don't know when I will be able to do that, but hopefully that's a project in the future. Well, that's a brief tour of my shop. I mean, if you guys have questions like later about anything specific, or you'd like to see how something functionally works, I'm sure as time goes on, we'll be able to do that. But while I have you, I wanted to show you some of the things that I make. So this is a Buck 110, and it's been customized with walrus ivory grips, or handles rather. Get it closer to the camera. And again, none of the things I do, I'm saying that they're extra special or unique, but you don't have that many people making handles, replacement handles for bucks that are made out of walrus ivory. And this is an older buck, as you could see, that has some pitting on the blade that I bought probably at a garage sale. Or my wife probably did, because she's better at garage sailing than I am. That I rehandled with the walrus ivory. And as you can see, I like to say that I do some fairly decent work. I pay attention to what I'm doing, at least the detail. I have some really cool facets on that. Forgive the fingerprints and stuff. Here's another one I made with moose antler. This is a newer buck. And that has toasted handles, and it also has file work done to the spine. I just don't work on bucks. I also do case knives. I custom make knives from raw stock material. I refinish old knives. That's kind of why I started this. I guess Alaska doesn't have a lot of places where you can get knives, and as a hobbyist knife restorer, you run out of I guess things to fix really quick. And I started ordering on eBay, and as anybody knows, eBay gets fairly expensive. If not just the prices, it's the shipping as well. And I wanted to find some other avenue to be able to, you know, get some knives that I can work on and restore. And I thought it'd be a cool idea to share and ask people if they have stuff that they're willing to trade for some of my work, so I can get older knives and I can fix them up, restore theirs, or fix up a knife that they want, and they can in turn trade me some knives that I may want. And so that's initially why I started this channel, but it's kind of maybe morphed into a little bit different since then. I definitely probably have more knives than I have time to fix, but that won't stop me from collecting. I thoroughly enjoy being able to be in my shop. If I pick up a project like I'm working on a knife to restore, or not my knife, but somebody else's, or I'm making something else, I just got to be cognizant that I at least set aside about half an hour at the end of that day to work on something I want to work on, so it doesn't feel like work, and I'm actually getting into the shop to do something that I want to do. Not that I don't want to work on custom knife handles, I do, but as an artist, those are the things that you kind of let go and you never see again, and it's fun while you work on them, and you don't really get to enjoy them. These knives that I restore, I oftentimes keep a lot of them. I shouldn't say often, all the time I keep all of them unless I give them out as gifts. I don't turn around and resell or do anything like that. So that's kind of a little bit, I'm trying to look to see if there's anything I forgot here on the workbench that I could share with. Many of you may have saw the Knife Doctor's video where I made him a cutler's anvil similar to this. This is the very first one that I ever made. I still use it. I need to modify it with some of the upgrades that I put on Kevin's anvil. And as time goes on in my videos, I'll show you how I use this, how I get the best use out of anvil, a cutler's anvil, or a stiddy as they're called sometimes. So if you ever run across one or you want to use one, you at least can maybe have an idea of what they're used for. I'm currently working on a couple orders. Now that I'm good enough to be in my shop, I foresee that I'm going to be able to start getting some of these orders out soon. But here is some of the stock that I'm working with, and this is going to turn into another cutler's anvil, a stiddy. And basically this is what I'm working with now. As time goes on, things always evolve. There's always different iterations of things, and I can only imagine as time does go on and I make more of these, hopefully with some feedback they get better. Couple other things, let's see. Got a couple projects in the works that hopefully I get to bring you guys on at least some of the build. So this is a piece of ivory. This is actually a large male tusk. And as you could see, I flattened the backside and it's pretty flat and it's pretty thick. Actually a lot more thick than it needs to be. So I'll need to refine this a little bit more, but what this is going to end up going on is this case shark tooth, which I already have the handles and the spring removed. I'm going to be doing file work on that spring and file work on the blade as well. But just like the bucks, it should turn out probably, if not the same, much better and I'll say better because I think the shark tooth probably aesthetically has a lot more character than a buck. It's a beautiful knife, and it's going to be even that much more beautiful when I'm done with it. And that's the preview of how some of the scales are going to look. In addition to that, I have a few other ones that I'm pretty excited to do. I got one of my good friends, he has a YouTube channel, and he actually, all of these guys are from YouTube channels. But the one I'm kind of excited to do is going to be really unique. I don't let too much out, but I'm hoping I can at least do a video on that as well. But anyways, you guys, this is my shop. This is me. What you see is what you get. I really hope that you guys stick around. Please subscribe. Please like and watch my other YouTube shorts. There's plenty of them that were released early on that didn't get a lot of views that I think are deserving of at least going back and looking at. I know that your time is precious, and I would never steer you in a direction whereas I'm going to waste your time. I think they're entertaining. There's plenty of other things out there that you could probably be better suited watching, like something to do with history or otherwise. But at least until I start, recording some of these how-to videos or some of the projects I'm working on, stand by, give me a thumbs up, a like on some of the shorts so I at least know you're there. I do read every single comment. I do try to respond to every single comment. I do take what you guys say pretty, I guess, with a lot of respect, because I understand what you guys are wanting to see, what you guys are wanting to watch. And the last thing I want to do is waste anybody's time, because I know time is precious, and I know what you guys do is spending a lot of time on YouTube and watching people's video, and the last thing I want you to feel is that you were gypped for your time. But anyways, please, if you have any special requests about anything that is showed you in my shop, anything you'd like more information on, anything else you'd like to see, please just ask. And again, James Holscher, Warrior Werks. Pleasure meeting you guys, and look forward to more videos. Thank you.